Good evening. I'm Katie Bentley, Chairwoman of the Board of Trustees. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome you to Newfields 138th annual meeting, brought to you by Passageways Inc. and on board. Thank you for joining us today and for your ongoing support, which makes everything we do possible. I was hoping today's presentation could be in person, but I'm very thankful for the technology that has moved Newfields and the rest of the world through the pandemic. Today, we come together to reflect on the past year, discuss our current path, and look ahead to where Newfields plans to go. I would first like to take a moment to acknowledge that the past few months have been a difficult time for Newfields. We are learning and growing following a painful experience together, and I'm humbled by the passion our community has shown for this organization. In March, Newfields announced its comprehensive diversity, equity, inclusion, and access DEIA action plan. Developed with input from employees, docents, volunteers, and the community, the plan reflects our commitment to advancing DEIA values, policies, and practices institution-wide and across Newfields' relationships with the community. You will hear much more about the action plan later in our program, including an update on our progress to date and the next steps. Let me begin my presentation by offering my gratitude and appreciation to you as staff, board members, volunteers, docents, donors, members, and community partners for your dedicated work to help make Newfields a better place. We're all here because we're passionate about Newfields and about providing exceptional experiences in art and nature. Our mission and our commitment to offering these experiences remains unchanged. And we have a responsibility to make these experiences available to a larger and more diverse audience. We recognize there is much to be done as we move toward this goal. The COVID-19 pandemic forced us to close our doors last spring, just as the spring blooms flowers beginning to emerge. During the closure, Newfields staff not only transitioned to working from home, but they also rose to the occasion and found ways to help the Indianapolis community. Led by Jonathan Wright, the Ruth Lilly director of the garden in Fairbanks Park, the Newfields horticultural team harvested more than 2,000 perfect tulips and then delivered them to the Martin Luther King Community Center for donation to patients in nursing homes and hospitals. The MLK Center also received and distributed thousands of our spring blooming annuals, such as pansies, violas, and lettuce plants. The talented Newfields culinary arts team also found ways they could be helpful amid the pandemic. They connected with Second Helpings as a satellite kitchen partner and prepared meals that were distributed through Second Helpings to families and neighbors in need. During this time, it was more important than ever for members of our community to have access to the healing beauty of art and nature. To ensure we were ready to welcome them with open arms upon Newfields reopening, we made the commitment to maintain our full staff. I'm proud that we were able to do that, as unfortunately many organizations and institutions were not. I'm also proud that Newfields was able to serve a record number of people this year and do it safely. After 3 months of closure, the garden reopened with protocols in place to ensure the safety of our guests and staff. It was wonderful to see our campus lively again, thanks to our reopening sponsor, the National Bank of Indianapolis. A few weeks later, the IMA galleries opened with the debut of the highly anticipated Edward Hopper and American Hotel, presented by Shochet Hotels. We were glad to be able to welcome guests back with a major exhibition and one that was more relevant than we possibly could have planned. The solitude and loneliness depicted in many of Hopper's works were familiar to many as they came out of quarantine. Close to 24,000 guests visited the exhibition. Last October, Harvest at Newfields returned as a month-long celebration with a new spooky experience, called Harvest Nights. I must say it was spectacular. This ticketed event featured thousands of endless glowing pumpkins along a never-before-seen path at Newfields. Nearly 50,000 tickets were sold, far exceeding our goals. I recommend Harvest be on your calendar for next year. In addition, Harvest Days saw more than 25,000 guests explore the magnificently decked out garden with thousands of Indiana-grown pumpkins and gourds, as well as art-making activities, world travels via beer passport, visits from local vendors, and much more. Rounding out 2020, Winter Lights returned for its fourth glorious year at Newfields. The event is now an Indianapolis tradition, and Newfields was able to safely welcome a record of more than 144,000 guests to share the magic. I would like to thank Mary Ann Williams Tobias for her fourth year of support to bring the music to the landscape of light. New this year, Huckleberry Funk's cover of Donny Hathaway's This Christmas was added to the landscape of light, thanks to the support of RCR technology. Hopefully you were able to visit this year's Spring Blooms presented by Wild Birds Unlimited. Nearly 42,000 guests visited this year to enjoy the colorful show in the garden. New this year, Art in Bloom presented by Gary and Hannah Hirschberg, Aaron Wealth Advisors, brought nature to the IMA galleries with a variety of breathtaking floral displays designed by talented floral designers from Indianapolis and around the country. It was a hit with guests and is sure to be a highlight of the Spring Blooms experience for years to come. Outdoor experiences have been more important than ever in the last year. Since opening in 2010, the Virginia B. Fairbanks Art and Nature Park has been free to the public, a place where our community can enjoy outdoor artworks and explore woodlands, wetlands, meadows, and the shoreline of a 35-acre lake. Thanks to ongoing support from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation and many other generous donors, we have made progress on some important projects in Fairbanks Park. The path around the lake, which had been closed for some time, reopened in June after extensive erosion mitigation work and the completion of repairs to Lake Bridge. Visitors can now enjoy the 35-acre lake from multiple vantage points. The path was certified through the Indiana Wildlife Federation's Certified Sustainable Trails Program. Another exciting project underway in Fairbanks Park this year is the Wild Birds Unlimited Native Pollinator Meadow, thanks to Nancy and Jim Carpenter, Edgar Fennell, and the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation. After clearing invasive plants, our team developed a comprehensive planting plan, including more than 75 species of native herbaceous plants and more than a dozen customized plant combinations. We worked with a native plant nursery in Muncie to grow more than 50,000 plants needed to realize the design for the meadow. Test trial plants are currently taking hold, and the rest will go in this July, creating the largest pollinator meadow in the city. The past year was incredibly active, as you can see, and you will hear in a few moments about how we are building on this foundation, including our commitment to expand our audience and create a more inclusive Newfields. Before we do that, I'd ask you to join me in thanking the many people who've helped Newfields move forward during this challenging time. First, I would personally like to thank each and every member of the Board of Trustees. Darian Christian for her leadership during the past months. As chair of the newly formed Commitment Committee, Darian led 5 other trustees through the process of developing the DEIA action plan that was released in March. She and the other members of that committee worked tirelessly to develop the plan, and they continue to work as we move through its implementation. Darian, I can't thank you enough. I can tell you from personally that she worked day and night on this, as did many of the committee members. It was a yeoman's service to this organization, and she was up to the task. I want to thank Tom and Nora Hyatt, who've served as campaign co-chairs for the past 3.5 years. Their work has helped to secure numerous transformational gifts for many exciting projects, many of which you can see underway around the Newfields campus today. From the improvements you just heard about in Fairbanks Park, to a new location for the beer garden, to the development of a comprehensive plan to reinstall the IMA galleries in new and exciting ways. We will celebrate the campaign and the generous donors who've supported it in the months ahead. In the meantime, thank you, Tom and Nora Hyatt. Thank you to Lily Pye, returning chair of the Board of Governors, for your time and true devotion to Newfields. Your leadership has helped to move Newfields forward in countless ways, and your hard work is truly appreciated. Next, I would like to thank the board members who are rotating off the Board of Trustees. They include David Barrett, Shirley Mueller, Maria Rose, Rachel Simon, and Daniel Sprovansky, as well as the board members who are rotating off the Newfields Board of Governors: Alyssa Kempodonico Barr, T. Scott Law, Allison Licklider, and Brent Mather. These individuals, outstanding individuals, have provided exceptional service to our institution, and we are grateful. And now I will turn the Newfield to the Newfields CFO and interim president, Jerry Wise, who will give the finance report. Jerry?
Thank you, Katie. I'm here to report on the state of finances of Newfields, and I'm happy to report that the finances at Newfields are good. Despite the restrictions of COVID-19, we were able to achieve both record attendance and record revenue on the strength of our outdoor garden-based programming, which allowed us to welcome guests with their health and safety in mind. As a result of this strong performance and good financial management, we were able to weather the pandemic without a single layoff. And in fact, we were able to increase our minimum starting wage for full-time employees this year by $2 per hour and increase our 401k match to 6% as part of our initiatives to offer a livable wage to all employees, as well as allow our employees to retire with dignity. We will finish the current fiscal year with a draw rate on the endowment of less than 5% for the third time in the last 4 years. And earlier today, the Board of Trustees adopted a fiscal year 2022 budget that will achieve the draw rate of 4.75%, the best financial performance for this organization in well over a decade. As a result of strong financial stewardship and strong equity markets, we have been able to continue reducing our once crippling debt load, while at the same time growing our endowment to almost $365 million. As our financial condition continues to improve, this will allow us to invest more in the art, garden, and educational programs that our community members, guests, members, and donors love, and to reach a broader audience while forwarding our diversity, equity, inclusivity, and accessibility initiatives. Thank you, and I would now like to welcome David Barrett, Chair of Governance Committee, who will provide this year's governance report.
Well, thank you, Jerry, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Barrett, Chair of the Governance Committee. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the members of the Governance Committee for all of their outstanding work this year. As we all know, one of the most important functions of a board is planning for succession. And I'm pleased to report that we've done that quite well this year. Now in its third year, the Board of Governors continues to support Newfields' mission in significant ways. Please join me in congratulating the 7 governors who were reelected earlier today to serve for a 3-year term that will expire at the annual meeting of the corporation in 2024. The governors are Helmy Banta, Molly Jeffers, Greta Kruger, Joanna Nixon, Jason Nguyen, Lily Pye, and Barry Wormser. I'm pleased to introduce you to the new governors who were elected earlier today by the Board of Trustees and the Board of Governors. And those governors are Dawn Batson, Andrew Bridge, Andre Franklin, Justin Kelly, and Robert Scheel. Our next order of business is to renominate 5 trustees whose terms of office expire at today's meeting to succeed themselves for an additional 3-year term, which will expire at the annual meeting of the corporation in 2024. And those trustees are Gary Hirschberg, Suzanne McAllister, Tina Pasquinelli, Dorrit Paul, and Ian Rupert. With the unanimous support of the Board of Trustees, the Governance Committee is also pleased to nominate 8 new trustees for your consideration at this meeting. If elected, the 8 new nominees to the Board of Trustees will be elected for 3-year terms to expire at the annual meeting in 2024. The nominees are Gary Butkus, Nora Hyatt, Dr. Sean Huddleston, Stephanie Kim, Samuel Levi Jones, Alan Mills, Jason Noyen, who will have a dual appointment as both an elected governor and trustee, and Rosemary Steinmetz. So I move that the 5 nominees nominated for re-election to the Board of Trustees for a 3-year term to expire at the annual meeting in 2024 be re-elected. And I also move that the 8 new nominees to the Board of Trustees be elected for 3-year terms to expire at the annual meeting in 2024. Please note that only members of the Board of Trustees and Life Trustees are eligible to vote. And now I would ask if there is a second. And thank you, Dan Yates, for your second. All those in favor, please signify by voting yay in the poll, and all those against, please signify by voting nay in the poll. And I believe that the motion carries. Congratulations to all of our new and returning board members. It's now my pleasure to say thank you to our existing chair. Please join me as we take a moment to thank Katie Bentley for her dedicated service and chairwomanship over the last 3 years. We're truly grateful for her leadership and her commitment to Newfields. With Katie's guidance and support, Newfields successfully navigated a global pandemic and in recent months oversaw the deepening of our commitment to a DEIA journey. In my experience here at Newfields, there are a few people who are as committed to this institution as Katie Bentley, and we are deeply indebted to you, Katie, for your service. Thank you. And now it's a true pleasure to officially introduce, for the first time, Newfields' new chairwoman of the Board of Trustees, Darian Christian. Darian has served as a Newfields Board of Trustee member since 2016, and I know that Darian will lead Newfields to new heights and new successes. Please welcome Darian Christian.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, David, for the warm welcome. I echo your sentiments as it relates to Katie Bentley. Thank you, Katie, for your service and dedication to Newfields. I am truly honored to be the next chairwoman of the board. It's no secret that Newfields has had a difficult year. We must own our discriminatory failures. We must do better and be better, and make sure that our future actions, not our past, define who we are and what we stand for. I am here today, and you are here today, to ensure that doesn't happen. In this moment of change, what we know with certainty is that history will write one narrative of the current movement for diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. We also know that each and every one of us will be a part of that record as it relates to Newfields. I appreciate the commitment you've shown and support you have given to the efforts we are undertaking. I am also grateful to be working with you to ensure that Newfields as an institution ends up on the right side of history. The work before us is extensive, long-term, and a multi-layered effort. Building a stronger relationship with our community and beyond is the highest priority. Over the past 3 months, we dedicated ourselves to beginning to actively rebuild a permanent relationship with our community. This vital work could not be accomplished without the help of the Board of Trustees' newly formed Commitment Committee. My thanks to its members for your devoted time, true dedication, and collective motivation to set Newfields on the right path moving forward. Newfields is committed to becoming an empathetic, multicultural, and anti-racist institution with diversity, equity, inclusion, and access at the center of our culture, purpose, and mission. This past March, Newfields announced its comprehensive DEIA action plan to move us toward this goal. Developed with input from employees, docents, volunteers, and the community, including artists, it reflects our commitment to advancing DEIA values, policies, and practices institution-wide and across Newfields' relationship with its neighbors. Some of the action the plan lays out and the progress it demands will be immediately evident to the public. But some of the most important and urgent work, evolving our culture, organizational structures, management practices, and leadership requires more time. I'm going to share an update and summary of our activities to date. First, I will speak to our work to create new, better experiences for all. All future programming is being evaluated through a DEIA lens to ensure it reflects the diverse experiences and identities of our community. As part of Spring Blooms, we hosted guests from community partner organizations, including Ivy Tech Community College, the MLK Center, the Villages of Indiana, and IU School of Medicine for picnics in the garden. We expanded programming for Art in Bloom and made a dedicated effort to recruit a much more diverse group of floral designers to participate than had originally signed on. This summer, we are piloting an art camp partnership and are grateful to a community partner who will help bring neighborhood youth to experience Newfields' popular summer camps at no cost. Thanks to generous donor support. The lineup for the National Bank of Indianapolis Summer Nights Film Series was developed in conjunction with local film scholar Coy Lloyd, specifically looking through the lens of diversity at all levels. We recognize that these things are small things and that the real work lies ahead in engaging our community in the development of programming from the ground level. The Newfields Board of Trustees Art Committee will meet this summer to develop an aggressive plan for acquiring works by Black, Indigenous, and artists of color and artists from other marginalized backgrounds. Funded with the proceeds from the $20 million endowment Newfields created for and dedicated entirely to this purpose in March, these important future acquisitions will help to ensure our permanent collection reflects our community and the full canon of art history in all their diversity. This summer, Newfields will launch a guest speaker series designed to enrich our thinking about DEIA implementation, featuring scholars and experts from the arts and culture industry. Open to leadership and staff alike, the first event in this series is currently being planned for July. Newfields' senior leaders are in dialogue with representatives of other museums who are engaged in similar work. The goal of these meetings is for us to gain insights from peers about DEIA implementation and community engagement best practices. Next, let me address our commitment to DEIA in everything we do. Newfields is actively working to enhance its commitment to DEIA across every level of the organization. Starting at the top, following today's election of new trustees, nearly 25% of trustees come from communities of color and other marginalized identities. This is an increase from the current 8%. 50% of the Board of Trustees have completed extensive anti-racism training with the Racial Equity Institute. Remaining board members are enrolled in REI's training in late May for the late May and June sessions. Our expert DEIA partner, Pink Consulting, is working to complete the full assessment of the intercultural development inventory for Newfields staff, board, leadership, docents, volunteers. Pink expects to launch a customized training program for all staff and leadership by late summer and will complete IDI assessments for volunteers and docents this fall. Approximately 85% of staff provided input to Pink's assessment, which has been shared with Newfields leadership. We have brought together an external expert assessment team led by Mara Selby, head of the Racial Equity Solutions Group, and whose work is well underway. Among its activities, the team has completed the first phase of data collection through document production and review. They have also developed an employee survey seeking perspective and input on our organizational culture and workplace environment, which will be launched later this week. Third, we are building a deeper relationship with our community. Dr. Sean L. Huddleston, who has joined us as a trustee, is chair of the Newfields Community Advisory Committee. Dr. Huddleston shared an update on his work to form the committee and sought feedback from all Newfields staff on May 7th. The committee's first meeting is planned for June. Members will come from a diverse range of community organizations and businesses, and also include artists and staff. Several Newfields trustees and governors participated in our first listening hour session on site at Newfields on May 6th, where we spoke with guests and listened to their feedback about the DEIA work underway. Among other input, visitors shared their optimism about our DEIA plan, but also noted that the real measure of our success will be in the results. We are grateful for all of the feedback we received on May 6th and look forward to continuing these important conversations. The next listening hour session will be held on June 3rd at Newfields from 4 to 7 p.m. Nearly 2,000 guests visited Newfields for our first and second expanded Free Thursdays in April and May. Since late March, Newfields has distributed more than 7,000 free tickets to partner organizations for special events, including Spring Blooms and Art in Bloom, as it works to reduce financial barriers and increase access. 10,000 free tickets have been set aside for the Loom opening later this summer. Newfields staff have begun to work on logistics for a new Neighborhood Pass program and look forward to reviewing plans with the Community Advisory Committee this summer. Beginning July 1, Newfields will expand its complimentary student membership program, which already includes Marion County Public Schools and public and nonprofit university and colleges to include Ivy Tech Community College. This allows Ivy Tech students to have access to a full Newfields membership while enrolled as students. While we know there is still much to be accomplished, we are working every day with the shared mission of making Newfields a place where everyone feels welcome. We are committed to this long-term work and to sharing our progress transparently. We have launched a new webpage at discovernewfields.org/together, where you can review our full action plan, see updates on our progress, and provide feedback directly to Newfields leaders. Throughout the past few months, we have come to deeply understand the importance of an ongoing dialogue with our community. And you are all an important part of that community. We ask all of you to please share your thoughts and ideas as Newfields moves forward. As I mentioned earlier, the next listening hours will be held here at Newfields on June 3rd from 4 to 7 p.m. You can also share feedback using the together@discovernewfields.org email. All messages to that address are shared with the Commitment Committee and Newfields' leadership. I promise you, we will see your comments and respond to them. Those of you watching today are among those closest to Newfields and have known the magic of this place for many years. I hope you will join me in welcoming new audiences and helping them to engage with this place we all know and love. I look forward to continuing this effort with all of you. Thank you. I would now like to pass it off to Jerry Wise for a review of the upcoming Newfields exhibitions. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Darian. And thank you to the entire Commitment Committee for the work you have done over the past several months to continue to make Newfields a more inclusive and equitable institution. As we look ahead, I'm pleased to provide an overview of upcoming exhibitions and seasonal programs through the lens of community impact and our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Katie Bentley shared some highlights from our seasonal garden-based experiences earlier in the program tonight. Winter lights, spring blooms, and harvest have truly become some of the favorite traditions for our members and guests. And we have often talked about these programs in terms of their ability to drive attendance and to drive revenue. But what we haven't talked about as much is the greater impact of these programs. As Darian mentioned, partnerships is at the heart of Newfields' DEIA action plan. And our seasonal programs provide many opportunities for Newfields to engage with our community partners. For instance, many of our guests will say that a visit to Winter Lights is incomplete without roasting s'mores over our outdoor fire pits. Many visitors, however, do not know that Newfields partners with the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana to operate the s'more tents, and that the proceeds from the sale of s'mores have provided scholarships for scores of Girl Scouts to be able to attend summer camp. We are proud of these types of partnerships for the opportunities that they provide to our partner organizations. This past year during Winter Lights, we also partnered with the Jewish Federation of Greater Indianapolis to offer the first ever latkes and lights program, where the Federation provided a Hanukkah twist to the evening. One of the attendees wrote to us afterward, explaining that this is the first time that he and his family have felt truly included at an event of this type, which is almost always focused on the Christmas season. We hope to be able to replicate this model and collaborate with more local organizations to create even more culturally enriching, inclusive events as part of our programming year-round. It is also important to note that these seasonal programs provide more than $4 million each year to support programs and exhibitions inside the IMA and in the garden, making it possible for us to care for the garden, mount important art exhibitions, care for our art collection, and develop enriching educational programs that serve thousands of IPS and area school-age children each year. Thank you to all of the supporters of our seasonal programs, including Bank of America, our presenting sponsor for Winter Lights, without whom these programs would not be possible. As you've probably heard, the Loom is set to open at Newfields this summer, thanks to a generous gift from Lily Endowment Inc. Created by Australian-based Grande Experiences, the Loom Indianapolis will transform the museum's entire fourth floor with nearly 30,000 square feet of immersive digital art. This year, we will feature the legendary artworks of Vincent Van Gogh, images of his post-impressionistic works, such as Starry Night and Sunflowers, will be dramatically displayed floor to ceiling through almost 150 state-of-the-art high-definition projectors. Guests will see floors and walls come alive as light ripples across every surface and masterpieces transform before your eyes. Unlike any other digital exhibition of this type around the country, the Loom Indianapolis will also include original works of art from the IMA's permanent collection in the final gallery. As part of this experience, I'm happy to report that guests will be able to experience the dramatic Sheaves of Wheat by Vincent Van Gogh that we have on loan from the Dallas Museum of Art as part of this exhibition. We are excited about the promise of Loom to help new audiences connect with art and art lovers to experience it in a new and dynamic way. But we are also excited about the capacity of the Loom to help us build the deep, holistic partnerships that will play such an important part in helping us to connect and serve our community. Every element of the Loom's operation and programming will reflect Newfields' commitment to its DEIA goals. From the 10,000 complimentary tickets that we will distribute annually through our community partners, to an awards program that will recognize local artists from marginalized backgrounds with a cash prize and dedicated exhibition space, our efforts in this regard are expansive, deliberate, and carefully considered. Among all the work underway, Newfields is focused on the following initiatives. First, we are exploring the creation of an employment program to fill the nearly 36 permanent jobs that the Loom will create, and to fill these positions in collaboration with new and existing community partners. We are committed to prioritizing certified minority women-owned, disability-owned, and veteran-owned businesses in the procurement of goods and services needed to operate and manage the Loom. The development of a formal policy is currently underway. Also, Newfields is planning the design of integrated arts and technology curricula, as well as other educational programming for students at IPS and other area schools. We have expanded the neighborhood membership pass now being developed to include free admission year-round to the Loom. In addition, we have designated complimentary preview days and community nights, including at the Loom grand opening, to be offered to community residents and community partners. Efforts to define the program and schedule for the Loom Artist Award competition is underway. Launching in 2022, the award will recognize emerging and established digital artists with a focus on artists from historically marginalized groups, with a cash prize and dedicated exhibition space for their work. Our goal across these and every other current and future initiative is to work to build relationships with community organizations to ensure that the Loom is as much a success for our surrounding neighborhoods as it is for Newfields. In the weeks and months ahead, you can expect to hear more about how important the investment by Lilly Endowment will positively impact our Indianapolis community. With the Loom in the fourth floor galleries, many have asked about our plans for the contemporary art program. And we know how important our contemporary collection is to our members, our guests, and to the IMA's collection overall. We are working on multiple initiatives to elevate the profile of contemporary art at the IMA. First, our COO, Katie Haig, who is overseeing the curatorial department, is helping to assemble a group of highly regarded contemporary curators to consult with Newfields and collaborate with our assistant curator of contemporary art, Dr. Michael Vetter, to help chart an exciting path forward for our contemporary art collection. Thanks to a gift from longtime Newfields supporter Kay Cook, an interdepartmental team is currently working on the gallery re-envisioning project to reimagine how to present our galleries, which have largely remained unchanged since the IMA reopened more than 15 years ago, for the desires of the 21st century audience. The gallery visioning project allows our team to develop a series of experiments and to test a variety of approaches to installation, including participatory, community as co-creator, and global thematic displays. You may have also heard earlier in this program that we have established a new $20 million art purchase endowment specifically to purchase new A-level pieces by Black and Indigenous artists, other artists of color, and artists from historically underrepresented and marginalized backgrounds. We expect that much of this fund will go toward the purchase of exciting new contemporary pieces that will enliven the IMA galleries and delight our many audiences. Also, we have 3 contemporary art exhibitions that will be on display this summer. First, opening in the Allen Whitehill Clues Pavilion on Friday is Private Eye, the Imagist Impulse in Chicago Art, a contemporary show displaying the intriguing work of a group of young, daring artists from the mid-1960s. Curated by guest curators John Corbett and Jim Dempsey, the exhibition will be on display until December 5th, 2021. A special thank you to Michael Robertson and Christopher Slapik, as the exhibition is drawn entirely from their collection, their private collection, and they provided lead support for the exhibition. They have also promised most of the featured works to the IMA collection, for which we are incredibly grateful. Generous support for this exhibition was also provided by Mary Ann Williams Tobias and the Jan B. Rubin Art Exhibition Fund. Also, opening on June 11th, our newest exhibition in the Ephraimson Family Entrance Pavilion will be Happy World on a Cloud, curated by Bryn Jackson, Assistant Curator of Audience Engagement and Performance, and Dr. Michael Vetter, Assistant Curator of Contemporary Art. This exciting work is by Los Angeles-based art collective Friends With You. For almost a year, the welcome entrance will feature a suspended, smiling, inflatable sculpture titled Little Cloud. This installation is meant to welcome guests to Newfields with a message of hope and admiration for nature's wonders. The Artist Collective has been creating mesmerizing installations since 2002 with the mission of spreading a positive message of magic, luck, and friendship. Lastly, Illegible has been on display since February and is open in the Golden Gallery through August 22nd. This colorful show features prints, drawings, and paintings on paper that incorporate familiar English words that are playfully displayed. The exhibition is curated by Anna Stein, Associate Curator for Works on Paper, and I encourage all of you to take the opportunity to view these exciting exhibitions. As the 138th annual meeting comes to a close this evening, I would like to thank all of our staff, members, boards, volunteers, docents, and members of our community for tuning in. It cannot be said enough that Newfields is immensely grateful to all of you for your collective input and interest in helping Newfields take the first steps in an exciting new direction. As we continue to fulfill our commitment to the Indianapolis community, which we are so proud to be part of, we fully recognize that the promises made in Newfields' action plan and the steps we are taking toward a brighter future are only a start. We are grateful for your help and support as we move ahead on this journey together. I would also like to thank and recognize Onboard as the presenting sponsor of the 138th annual meeting. Onboard is the software that helps Newfields and over 2,000 other organizations manage board coordination and communication while providing a streamlined process for collaboration, especially in a virtual world. We are proud to work with this Indianapolis-based company for our board management needs and grateful for their support tonight. Thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight and have a great night. Thank you.